You're watching STV 6 p.m. newscast live from our headquarters in Accra, here in the city of Douala. The headlines: for the National Development Strategy of 2020-2030 to attain its set out objectives, certain aspects have to be looked into, like the current security in the northwest and southwest regions, as well as the security in the far north region. If all these are put under control, then the National Development Strategy is set to attain its objective come 2030. And in sports, Cameroon counts 4 pools for the upcoming 2020 African Nations Championship, and with barely a month to go, most of these stadiums are ready to host the various teams, even though some last-minute works are still ongoing. Details of this and many more in the beat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on another edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. We'll begin right away. For the National Development Strategy of 2020-2030 to attain its set out objectives, certain aspects have to be looked into, like the current security in the northwest and southwest regions, as well as the security in the far north region. If all these are put under control, then the National Development Strategy is set to attain its objective come 2030. Details with John Paul Sama.
Given the fact that the Cameroon government has put in a chunk of our developmental projects on the National Development Strategy 2020-2030, this strategy, as some economists say, could be hampered by the unstable economic context in the country. As a consequence, Ekomateng states that the NDS 30 could encounter counter-performances caused notably by some important changes which could impact the realization of this key project. The security situation in the northwest and southwest regions, the lateness in the execution of some major projects, as well as climate change are some of the factors which could impair the smooth running of this program. Adding to this is the fight against Boko Haram in the far north region. For the National Development Strategy's success, the agricultural productivity needs to improve with intensification in second-generation agriculture as a projected 6% during this period, contrary to 8.5% program in the vision's scenario. Electricity and other major projects have to be stable and completed for the strategy to be effective, as well as a solution to the numerous crises the country is faced with.
And now the increase in the price of eggs is leaving no sector indifferent, from small calf businesses to household. Everyone is negatively affected by this change. Our reporter Onila Donet met with some calf owners who explain despite the increase in price, their retail price still remains the same. Her report.
These inhabitants, like some Cameroonians, is forced to change his breakfast routine due to the increase in the price of eggs.
I'm very surprised to see that the eggs that people have been selling 50 francs for one, it's now jumped from 50 francs to 150 francs. I don't know. And where they are, I think 1 year ago, people were mashing eggs all over the country. And see where you are. I'm forced to eat bread and soup instead of eating bread and egg. I'm very angry. You just say that the earth is shared. That's what they say. There's just one share. Full stop. I don't know why. I don't know why they say there's just one share. I'm always supporting now. We are managing, but I cannot eat again. I cannot eat anymore until the eggs will go down to 50 francs. Then I'll eat again.
Eggs, which were normally sold at 1,600 francs a crate, has increased to over 2,500 francs. A situation which has spoiled business for cafe owners. Right now we are facing a loss. This is because if you are to count what we spend on ingredients, we are at loss. When we come to sell, I sell fried eggs. I can sell at 200 francs, 150 francs. To be able to get profit, because I use gas, oil and everything. In order to get profit, I sell at 250 francs. That's how we've been suffering. Despite this increase, Some cafe owners still manage to sell at the normal rate, that is, 100 francs for boiled eggs and 150 francs for fried eggs. The price hasn't changed. We sell eggs for spaghetti at this cafe for 150 francs, and we don't lose that much. Other small things cover up for our loss. We sell at the same price. Even though it's expensive, we still sell at the same price. I don't know about those increasing their price. Small businesses are not the only sector affected, as some households can barely consume this protein-rich product.
And now, inhabitants of Makepe Misoke are yet to evacuate from their houses constructed on risk zones as per the mayor's concern of August 31, 2020. These inhabitants were confronted today, and their reasons why maintain a silent point and refusing to give out any information. Once more, Oni Ladonet.
Eight days has turned into months. The decision made on the 31st of August 2020 by the mayor of the Douala 5 municipality, Richard Fungwang, to evacuate inhabitants constructing on drainages in his municipality now looks like empty threats. On visiting Makepe Misoke, one of the risk zones highlighted today, November 10, 2020, one can still spot these houses constructed along the drainage system. Grass, dirt has clouded the area, affecting the free flow of water. This decision of the mayor has been taken in order to prevent the constant flooding which had been recurrent in this area. The population at that time had raised up the absence of a rehabilitation site as their reason for not evacuating the area. Today, when interrogated on same subject, they maintained silence, refusing to comment on the issue.
Now talk about something else, the Monuments Gateway into Fumban, that is in the Noon Division of the West Region of Cameroon, which was brought down to ashes last Sunday night of November 29, 2020, is witnessing a reconstruction nightmare as local and traditional authorities go into war over who has the right to do so after the purification ceremony organized by Sultan Ibrahim Bumbunjoya last Monday, November 30, the traditional ruler took on him to reconstruct the burned building, news which was not welcomed by the mayor of the town, that is the former member of parliament, Honorable Patricia Tomaino Ndamjoya, who stormed the site on Wednesday to stop works, insisting that the council is the only authority in charge of the reconstruction. Let's now go to news out of the country. Thousands of Ethiopians who fled the fighting in Tigray camps, that is in Sudan, face a new threat of COVID-19 outbreak. VOA with details.
Over the past month, more than 40,000 Ethiopians have fled clashes in Tigray to camps in eastern Sudan. Those arriving are placed in 3 camps in the cities of Kadarif and Kassala. 32-year-old Isfai Ali and his pregnant wife fled Humera to get away from the fighting, but now face a COVID-19 outbreak in this camp.
In Humera, some cases with coronavirus were discovered, but the government controlled it. Because of the internal conflict, I fled to Sudan, but I'm so worried about the spread of COVID-19 here in the camp due to the living conditions, room, and shortage of water.
Social distancing is difficult in the camp, where at least 6 refugees stay in each small tent or room. Health workers warn refugees of the coronavirus risk and teach them methods to prevent the spread of the virus. Isolation centers are also being built.
The high population and the big number of refugees represent a risk factor for the spread of the virus. There is a possibility that some of the suspected cases fled isolation centers in the war zone and came to the camps.
A second wave of COVID-19 is sweeping across Sudan. which reports at least 17,000 registered cases. The government has shut down universities and schools and is considering whether to impose more restrictions. The UN Refugee Agency is calling for more international aid to deal with the crisis. Refugees are trying to adjust, constructing small markets inside the camps and close to the hosting villages. Meanwhile, the Sudanese government is setting up a new refugee camp 250 kilometers from Khartoum to help ease overcrowding in the existing camps. Naba Muhiddin for VOA News, Umrakuba Camp, Al-Qadarif.
And on to our sport page, Cameroon counts 4 pools for the upcoming 2020 African Nations Championship, and with barely a month to go, most of these stadiums are ready to host the various teams, even though some last-minute works are still ongoing. John Paul Sama with details.
With barely a month to go for the 2020 African Nations Championship, some infrastructures earmarked for the hosting are yet to be completed. The state of some roads leading to these infrastructures, like those in Douala, are still not completed, with other secondary roads around the reunification stadium in a degraded state. The Bepanda Stadium, with a 30,000 capacity, is ready for use for teams of Pool C, but rehabilitation works at the Mbapelepe and Bonamusa the training field are set to be at 90%, with works previewed on the Mbapelepe playing turf after it was destroyed in a bid to play host to a COVID-19 emergency response center. The 50,000 capacity Japoma Stadium is in a good shape, with works at the complex put at 97%, as teams of Pool B will be looking forward to grazing the green turf. For the teams in Group A, the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium as well as its 2 annexes are in a good and functional state, with some light works ongoing in the stadium, while the Limbe Omnisport Stadium, which has played host to an international tournament in 2016 alongside the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, is also ready. With barely a short time left for kickoff, the remaining works have to be finished ahead of a continental delegation's visit and the participating teams to thrill the continent with the array of talents expected on show.
That's Sports Up News Sport Report with John Paul Sama brings us to the end of the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in company of our program till we meet again. Good night.